Hey there folks, be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content I'm putting out on the channel. Anyway guys, with that said, on with the video. Hey there folks, Ash here with my review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 53, and oh boy, was this a crazy issue going on, because not only did we see the very first appearance of the Dark Rangers in this issue, there's a lot more going on, and it's definitely setting up the sequel series we'll be getting once MMPR comes to a close, because if you've forgotten, once MMPR ends at issue 55, the next following month, or I think a couple of months later, we are getting a sequel comic, or two sequel comics, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. Yes, I know that name scheme sounds very confusing, but we're getting basically a story that follows the Mighty Morphin team and a story that follows the Omega Rangers off on their own space adventures. But we'll get into that as we get closer and closer to those issues coming out. So what can I say about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 53? Well, Ryan Parrott knows how to set stuff up, and he's been knowing how to set stuff up ever since I've been reading Go, because Ryan will put in little hints and teasers at stuff in the comics that's going to play a bigger role in future issues or future story arcs, and they come into play, and stuff in this issue is definitely coming into play for later down the line. So where do I begin? So the issue starts off with on the moon, where Rita first appeared in issue 51, but we soon find out that it's not Rita, it's a putty that Finster made that can morph into basically whoever. And the last time we saw this, if I remember correctly, was when Ryan did his early arcs of Go Power Rangers before Shattered Grid, where we saw a putty take on the form of Matt and sort of learn the Rangers' lives in their civilian lives, if you know what I mean. So the putty went undercover to learn more about the Rangers outside of being Rangers, to learn their weaknesses from the inside and the outside. So it was a really cool arc we got in the start of Go. So this is another putty that Finster has created, and Lord Zedd's basically going to let this putty be Rita and do what he wants, because if it dies, it dies. It's a putty, it's going to get destroyed. I'm pretty sure that Lord Zedd doesn't care. But this is really interesting, because I thought the whole putty fake ruse would be going on for a lot longer, but we find out in the comic that's not the case, and we'll get to that in a bit. So after that, we then cut to Promethea, where Grace and Billy are working on the Green Dragon coin, because if you remember, it lost its power due to the whole Green No More saga that happened in Go. So that's still coming into play, because at the end of Go, Billy and Grace asked each other for a favor. Well, if I remember correctly, Billy asked Grace for a favor, if I remember correctly, and together they've been working on the Green Dragon coin and using the Green Psycho Dagger to restore its powers. And they're like, alright, we've basically restored the Green Dragon coin to its power, it's fully charged, but we need to find a suitable ranger. And Billy's like, well, who do you recommend? And Grace is like, well, I've got a few suggestions, and on these suggestions is the coolest fucking Easter egg Ryan has slipped into this issue. So on the board, you've got a bunch of names, and the ones that stand out the most are J. Reese, K. Star, and R. Steele. Now, if you don't know who those names are, that is basically J.B. Reese, Ryan Steele, and Caitlin Starr. If you don't know who they are, they're the VR Troopers. So Ryan slipped in a really, really nice little Easter egg that kind of confirms that the VR Troopers are somewhere in the Power Rangers universe in the comics, and Grace has her eye on them, which is really freaking cool. So whatever this means, I know it's a nice little Easter egg, and fans are going to go crazy and decipher it in any way they can, like I'm doing right now, but this kind of teases and hints that the VR Troopers are somewhere out in the Power Ranger comic universe, and who knows if they'll appear again sometime in the nearby future, because Ryan's done that before. He slipped in things like King Lexion and Go and stuff like that. So having the VR Troopers get name dropped like this is fucking awesome, and I love it. So it's sort of like a blink and you miss it moment, or if you don't know those names or you've never heard of them before, they're totally going to go over your head. But this reference that Ryan slipped in there is just on point, and I love it. Like I'm geeking out over this reference that Ryan made, and I know it's not the biggest thing of this issue, but if you love references like that, then you'll love this one. So thank you, Ryan, for that. So Billy turns down Grace's offer to have the VR troopers in the Power Rangers team. Unfortunately, that would have been really cool if it did happen, but oh well. So Billy says, hey, I don't want to sound rude, but it'd be cool if we can have someone we can trust in a fight, not just some puppet that's on your payroll. No offense. And Grace is like, alright, so what you're looking for is an outsider, someone who's good in a fight, and I've kept an eye on. How about Draken? And Billy's basically got my reaction, how I've thought about Draken joining the team this entire time, but it's gonna happen. I can complain all I want and have mixed feelings about it all I want, but it's gonna happen. But Billy's like, hey, Evil Tommy, wanna be a new Green Ranger? And Grace is like, hey, I've talked to him while he was locked up. He's complicated. He might know what he's doing, because if the world's in danger and something's gonna happen, like shit's gonna go down, you're gonna need all the help you can get. He might be a valuable ally if he keeps his, if he gets kept in line. So, even though it's kind of obvious Draken might be the brand new Green Ranger, I'm curious how his chemistry is going to be with the team, because it's becoming the enemy of my enemy is my friend, that situation that I've talked about before with Draken joining the team. So even if Draken does join the team, I am curious how his chemistry with the other Rangers is going to be. So that plot thread is going to be left hanging until the finale of Mighty Morphin, from what I believe, with all the covers they've teased. So who knows, maybe we'll see it at the end of 54, I don't know, but I guess we'll see it eventually in this run of Mighty Morphin before it wraps up in a couple more issues. So after that, the issue then mostly focuses on the fight between the Dark Rangers and the MMPR team. But before we focus on the fight, I just want to say, when the Dark Rangers show up, will Rita and her squad show up, will fake Rita and her squad show up, you have everyone running for their lives, and Bulk and Skull, they're sort of signaling people, telling them where to go to safety. They're saying, hey, run this way, you know the drill, run for your lives, and Bulk is sort of pointing in the direction where everyone should be running. So I kind of like that little touch where Bulk and Skull are sort of being the heroes in this situation. Matt too, because he's helping out Miss Appleby in one panel as well. So you see the non-Ranger characters being the heroes in this situation by getting everyone to safety before the battle gets really crazy. So I like that nice. So after that, you have the Dark Rangers morph, and the MMPR team shows up to fight the Dark Rangers, and it's a pretty awesome fight. But before they jump into battle, you've got this awesome panel of them charging at each other from side to side, showing who's going to fight who, and these fights are freaking brutal. I'll say that. The Rangers, the MMPR team, they get stomped by the Dark Rangers, but we'll go over their fights one by one right now. So first up, you've got Aisha and Kimberly versus Goldar, and at first it seems like they're winning. They're able to hold their own against Goldar, kick him around for a bit, but they banter too much and get their asses kicked. But I gotta point out the banter, because Kimberly and Aisha are bantering with each other, complimenting on each other's banter. It shows that these two have grown as friends over the past time since we last saw them. So it shows that these two characters are getting closer and closer, and that weird tension we had since issue 40 has kind of gone away at this point. So yeah, they've gotten a lot more closer. And then you've got Billy up against Squat, where Billy gets freaking wrecked by the guy on one page. It kind of sucks for Billy, but Squat is just a tank and a force of nature in his Dark Ranger form, knocking Billy around like easy. Billy gets knocked down in this panel, and to see someone like Billy get knocked around by Squat, who's never been a fighter before, not much of a fighter like Finster, he gets wrecked so easily. So it shows how powerful these Dark Rangers are with these brand new enhancements that Lord Zed has given them. Then you've got Rocky up against Finster, and it's cool seeing Rocky fighting Finster, because Finster has never been a fighter in the Power Rangers franchise, not in the Sentai, not in the TV show. He was never a fighter, he was always the monster maker. So to see him hold his own against Rocky is really cool. He's mostly playing defense against Rocky, holding his own, but it's cool to see Finster go toe-to-toe with a Ranger in this comic, and I gotta compliment Finster on that, going toe-to-toe with Rocky, him being the Pink Ranger up against the Red Ranger. But yeah, Rocky's not that much of a fighter at this point in the series, but he's holding his own against Rocky, which is something. And then you've got Adam up against frickin' Baboo, And Baboo is freaking crazy. Like, Baboo's in this giant spider form, and he's giving Adam trouble. Poor Adam up against spiders. He's not a fan of spiders, you find out in this panel. I think he was never a bug person, but yeah, Baboo's design in his Dark Ranger form is also really cool. Like I said, this giant spider with big spider legs on his back. I fucking love Baboo's Dark Ranger design form. So then you've got Tommy up against the fake Rita, the Rita putty, and Tommy's somewhat holding his own against this fake Rita where he stabs a hand, pierces his saber right through their hand, and then you get the reveal to Tommy that he finds out that it's a fake. And then after that, you have the putty Rita going in this big long spiel saying how they were crafted to do this and that, and they're not the original Rita. They were built for a purpose, calling themselves a Revenge Ranger. And as they're making this big speech, Tommy is getting the crap kicked out of him, and it shows on the panel where they say they're a Revenge Ranger, because you see the lower part of Tommy's helmet just cracked up. His visor isn't cracked that badly, but you see the lower half of his helmet cracked up really, really badly. So these Dark Rangers are pretty strong if they're able to give the MMPR team a run for their money. So that is something, especially this fake Rita, able to go toe-to-toe with Tommy and do some damage on him, because usually Tommy can beat anything because it's Tommy, but not in the comics. In the comics, Tommy's going to get his ass kicked by a fake Rita Repulsa, which is pretty cool, I will admit that. So while this is going on, the other 5 Rangers are getting pushed back by the Dark Rangers. All of them except for the fake Rita, because I believe Tommy and the fake Rita are still having their one-on-one fight. Who knows what they're doing right now. So the MMPR team, except for Tommy, are getting pushed back, and Billy says, hey, we need to keep him at a distance, and we gotta hold him back for as long as we can until Tommy shows up. So what they do is they take out the blade blasters and they start shooting at the Dark Rangers. All of them except for Dark Rita, of course, which I've been over. So they start firing at the Dark Rangers, and they're like, hey, they've got guns, that's not fair, we don't have weapons like that. And this is where Baboo says, hey, Finster, where's your fake Rita? We need some guidance. And this is where you have Lord Zed appearing on the rooftop saying, they're idiots, even with the simple of instructions, they can't follow orders, and the Dark Chaos Crystal could have powered them up. So perhaps they require additional assistance. And then after that, you get this big explosion. And on the final page, you see Terror-Zords being formed. That's right, Lord Zed creates his own Zords for the Dark Rangers called the Terror-Zords, and these are freaking amazing. So you've sort of got 2 giant birds. I don't know what these are based on, because if these, I can tell that one of them's a centaur and one of them's some sort of hellhound or something like that, but the others are 2-winged beast, and I don't know what the red one is. It looks like some sort of snake, but these look freaking cool. These look like dark, evil kaiju monsters that Lord Zed has summoned to fight the Rangers. And no doubt about it, because these have Zords in the name, they're definitely going to form some sort of Megazord, but these Terror-Zords look fucking terrifying, and that's where the issue ends at, with these brand new Terror-Zords causing more destruction. Anyway guys, it's the end of issue 53 of MMPR. Overall, I think it was a really, really good solid issue. I enjoyed it quite a fair bit. And with that said, that's pretty much the end of the video, or the review, or the recap. That brings the video to a close. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoyed it. Turn on notifications, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys around in the next video, whatever that will be. Peace out, thanks for watching, and take care of yourselves. Bye!